There's nothing vanilla about home brand ice cream, according to the latest testing results from key consumer group Choice. Experts tried 25 vanilla ice creams for texture, flavour, smoothness, and also a
corn syrup, coconut oil, cellulose gum, and dairy product solids, all hiding in ice cream brands Americans have trusted for generations. But open the wrong carton, and what you are eating is not ice cream at all. It is a frozen dairy dessert whipped to half air. If you have been buying the same brand for 20 or 30 years, none of it was real. I am counting down 11 to throw out and 9 that earned your trust, based on FDA standards and federal labeling law. Starting with the brand that quietly dropped the words ice cream from its own carton. Number 11, Crunch. You know the candy bar. In 2022, Nestle expanded the brand into the freezer aisle with frozen dairy dessert bars. The packaging says vanilla bars with crunch coating. Notice what it does not say. Ice cream. Flip the box and read the ingredients. The first one listed is not cream. It is not even milk. It is dairy product solids, which is what remains after you strip the protein, lactose, and minerals out of the milk. The saturated fat in the coating comes mostly from coconut oil, not cocoa butter. Nestle knows exactly what this product is, and they put frozen dairy dessert on the box in the smallest font the law allows. The product is legal, it is safe, and it is everywhere. It is also not ice cream by any definition the FDA recognizes. If you are buying these for your grandchildren thinking you are giving them a treat from the ice cream aisle, look again. That was a labeling trick on a candy bar. But labeling is not the only trick in the freezer aisle. Number 10. Oreo. In 2022, the cookie brand launched tubs, cones, sandwiches, and scoopable bars. Every one of them is a frozen dairy dessert. The tubs come in cream and mint flavors, and neither one meets the FDA standard of 10% milk fat that would allow them to use the words ice cream. Turn the container around and you will find mono and diglycerides, gar gum, carabine gum, and a list of stabilizers long enough to fill a paragraph. Oreo is at least honest about it. The label says frozen dairy dessert in readable print, but the bright blue packaging sits right beside the ice cream, at ice cream prices, in the ice cream section of your grocery store. And for a brand with that kind of recognition, the packaging does all the selling. Nobody is reading ingredient lists when they see that logo. That is the entire strategy. So what happens when a childhood classic pulls the same move, only this time with ingredients that raise real health questions? Number 9. Good humor. Harry Burt invented ice cream on a stick in Youngstown, Ohio, in the early 1920s. For decades, Good Humor trucks were the sound of summer. Here is what happened to that legacy. The strawberry shortcake bar is now a frozen dairy dessert made primarily from non-fat milk. The exterior cake crunch coating contains Red 3, a dye the FDA acknowledges causes cancer in laboratory animals, and Red 40, which contains compounds identified as carcinogens in a peer-reviewed study published in the International Journal of Occupational and Environmental Health. The chocolate eclair and cookies and cream bars are also frozen dairy desserts. Only the original ice cream bar and the creamsicle still qualify as real ice cream. 2 products out of an entire line. The name on the truck has not changed. Everything inside it has. If you are already checking your freezer, the cones sitting next to those bars might need a look too. Number 8. Drumstick. The sugar cone with the chocolate coating and that plug of chocolate at the bottom. Nestle describes them as creamy vanilla cones and avoids the words ice cream entirely on the packaging. Read the ingredients and you will see why. The first 5 are dairy product solids, sugar, skim milk, corn syrup, and coconut oil. Compare that to a premium brand like Ben & Jerry's where cream is listed first. Drumstick lists no cream in the top 5. It lists no vanilla in its vanilla cone. The word vanilla does not appear in the ingredient list at all. Nestle engineered this product to look and feel and melt like ice cream while being manufactured from substantially cheaper components. The cone still crunches. The chocolate still melts. The frozen filling inside it is just not what your brain assumes it is when you grab the box. If this video is helping you see your freezer differently, take a second to hit subscribe. It costs you nothing and it keeps this channel making these investigations. Now back to the countdown. Number 7. Halo Top. Founded around 2011 by a former attorney who started making low-calorie ice cream in his Los Angeles kitchen. The pitch is smart. An entire pint for roughly 300 calories. What gets you there is less appealing. Skim milk is the first ingredient, not cream. The sweetness comes from erythritol, a sugar alcohol, and organic stevia, a heavily processed plant extract. Together, they replace the cane sugar that traditional ice cream uses. In Canada, Every single variety of Halo Top is labeled as a frozen dessert because it does not meet Canadian labeling requirements. In the United States, some flavors squeak past the 10% milk fat threshold, but the fat content generally runs around 5 to 6%. The product also contains prebiotic fiber, which is another name for inulin, a short-chain fiber that can ferment inside your intestines and cause gas and abdominal pain. A pint of Halo Top is to ice cream what a rice cake is to bread. It is shaped like the thing you wanted. It just is not the thing. The diet brands at least announce what they are replacing. The next name on this list did not bother. Number 6. Friendly's. This New England chain once served real ice cream in sit-down restaurants across the Northeast. Their grocery store pints tell a different story today. Friendly's Butter Pecan ice cream contains no cream whatsoever, not reduced cream, not a trace of it. The ingredient list reads like an industrial supply order. Corn syrup, artificial flavors, thickening agents, preservatives, and enough stabilizers to keep the product intact on a shelf for months. At roughly $4 a pint, Friendly's is cheap, and there is a reason for that. The company went through bankruptcy in 2011 and again during the pandemic. When a company is fighting to survive, the ingredient list is the first casualty. The name Friendly's still carries goodwill from 40 years of family dinners. The product behind that name no longer earns it. Bankruptcy explains Friendly's. Corporate engineering explains what happened at the next brand. Number 5. Edie's, which goes by Dreyer's west of the Rocky Mountains. Same company, same product. William Dreyer and Joseph Edie invented Rocky Road ice cream in 1929, one of the most iconic flavors in American history. Today, that legacy shares freezer space with a line called Slow Churned, which sounds artisanal. It is not. Slow Churned is a frozen dairy dessert. The process was developed specifically to reduce butterfat below the FDA's 10% threshold, while maintaining a texture that feels creamy enough that you might not notice the difference. The company markets it as having the taste you love with half the fat. What they leave out is that the fat was replaced with corn syrup, gar gum, carob bean gum, and annatto, a yellow dye. Even the Grand line, which is technically labeled ice cream, substitutes natural flavor for actual vanilla extract. The founders made Rocky Road with cream, sugar, and real marshmallows. The corporation that owns their name cuts every corner the FDA allows. A brand swapping out ingredients to save money is one thing. A brand being manufactured on the same production line as the bargain bin version is something else entirely. Number 4. Great Value. This is Walmart's store brand. Workers at the Wells Enterprises plant in Lamars, Iowa, have confirmed that Great Value ice cream is produced on the same lines as Blue Bunny. Same factory, same equipment. They switch the container. Many Great Value frozen products are labeled frozen dairy dessert, carrying the same ingredient profile as the name brand product sitting next to them at a higher price. That is not necessarily a scandal. Private label manufacturing is standard in the food industry. But if you are buying Great Value thinking you found a deal on real ice cream, check the label first. You may be paying less for the exact same frozen dairy dessert that Blue Bunny charges more for in fancier packaging. That factory in Iowa has been making frozen products for over a century. What happened to the brand it built is a case study in what corporate acquisition does to food. Number 3. Turkey Hill. This Pennsylvania dairy started selling ice cream in 1931 and built a loyal following in the Northeast. Today, scroll through their product lineup and you will find carton after carton stamped frozen dairy dessert, where the words ice cream used to be. Their brownie fudge swirl lists whey as the primary dairy ingredient, and the whey itself contains, according to the label, 2% or less of cream. 2%. The rest of the ingredient list is artificial flavors, colors, and preservatives. Customer forums from 2023 and 2024 are full of longtime buyers who noticed the switch and are not coming back. Turkey Hill did not announce the change. They did not put out a statement. They just swapped the cartons and trusted that brand loyalty would carry the product even after the product no longer deserved it. For some customers, it did. For the ones who read labels, it did not. Turkey Hill changed its cartons hoping nobody would notice. The brand at number 2 changed so dramatically that an entire state's fan base noticed overnight. Number 2. Blue Bunny. Wells Enterprises started making ice cream in Lamars, Iowa, in 1925, when Fred Wells Jr. bought a horse, a delivery wagon, and a few milk cans for $250. For nearly 100 years, the family kept it going. Then in 2022, the Ferrero Group, the Italian multinational behind Nutella and Tic Tacs, completed its acquisition of Wells Enterprises. Go to your grocery store right now and look at the Blue Bunny section. All but 2 or 3 flavors are now labeled frozen dairy dessert, bunny tracks, loaded sundaes, nearly the entire lineup. Ingredient lists grew longer. Coconut oil replaced cream. Dairy product solids replaced milk. A 2025 Reddit thread called Blue Bunny the nastiest brand for its airy texture and artificial flavors. An Iowa company, family-owned for a century, bought by a European candy conglomerate and reformulated top to bottom within 2 years. The price stayed the same. The product did not. And that brings us to number 1. The one that stings the worst, because this brand once stood for everything ice cream is supposed to be. Number 1. Breyers. William Breyer started making ice cream in Philadelphia in 1866. For over a century, Breyers was the gold standard of honest ice cream. Milk, cream, sugar, and vanilla. 4 ingredients. In the 1980s, the company ran television ads featuring a child who tried to read the ingredient list of a competitor brand and stumbled over every chemical name, then picked up a Breyers carton and rattled off all 4 ingredients without blinking. That ad was not marketing spin. It was the literal truth about the product. Then in 1993, Kraft sold Breyers to Unilever. Unilever closed the last Breyers plant in Philadelphia by 1995 and moved headquarters to New Jersey. By 2006, the all-natural promise that had defined the brand for over a century was gone. In 2013, Unilever formally introduced frozen dairy desserts under the Breyers label, cutting butterfat below the 10% threshold and pumping in air to increase volume while reducing cost. Today, the majority of Breyers products on your grocery shelf cannot legally use the words ice cream. With nearly $500 million in annual sales as of 2022, Breyers remains the 4th best-selling brand in America. It just does not sell ice cream anymore. That is the list of 11 brands to leave on the shelf. But this investigation found another side to the story. 9 brands still make real ice cream with real cream, real sugar, and enough butterfat to earn the name. Some of them cost less than you would expect. Number 9. Bluebell. Bluebell is real ice cream. Their natural vanilla bean contains milk, cream, sugar, and egg yolks. That earns a place on this list. But Bluebell carries a history you should know about. In 2015, a listeria outbreak traced to Bluebell plants in Texas and Oklahoma sickened 10 people across 4 states. 3 died in Kansas. The CDC found contamination dating back to 2010. 5 years of tainted product reaching consumers. Bluebell pleaded guilty to 2 misdemeanor counts of distributing adulterated ice cream and paid $17.25 million in criminal penalties, the largest food safety fine at the time. Some of their flavors also use high fructose corn syrup and artificial colors. The vanilla is real. The track record is complicated. If you buy Bluebell, read the label on each flavor individually because the ingredient quality varies more than it should within a single brand. So where do you go when you want real ice cream without the complicated history? Number 8. Trader Joe's. Their super premium ice cream contains cream, milk, sugar, egg yolks, and real vanilla. No corn syrup, no coconut oil, no cellulose gum. Prices usually come in under $5 for a pint, which puts it in the same range as brands filling their cartons with air and stabilizers. Trader Joe's runs no advertising for their ice cream. They print the ingredient list and trust you to read it. For a store brand with no marketing budget in this category, the product does its own talking. If there is a Trader Joe's within driving distance, this is one of the best values in real ice cream you will find anywhere. $5 for a clean pint is a good deal. $5 for real ice cream wrapped in real Belgian chocolate is even better. Number 7. Magnum. The ice cream bar with the thick chocolate shell. Magnum uses real ice cream with cream as a primary ingredient, coated in Belgian chocolate. In 2025, Magnum became part of the Magnum Ice Cream Company, which separated from Unilever to become the largest standalone ice cream business in the world, publicly traded on the Amsterdam, London, and New York stock exchanges. The bars usually run $5 to $6 for a 3-pack. What you are paying for is actual ice cream inside actual chocolate. In a freezer section dominated by frozen dairy desserts, hiding behind chocolate-flavored coatings made with palm kernel oil, that distinction is worth the price difference. Number 6. Jenny's Splendid Ice Creams. Founded in Columbus, Ohio, in 2002. Jenny's uses real cream and whole milk and develops flavors without artificial shortcuts. You can find their pints in Target and Whole Foods locations across the country. The price runs $11 to $13 per pint, and in ranked blind tastings of 9 premium brands, the flavor did not always justify that premium over competitors selling for several dollars less. But the ingredient list is clean from top to bottom, The ice cream meets every FDA standard, and the creative ambition in their flavor development is genuine. Jenny's is not the best value on this list. What it is, without qualification, is real ice cream. Jenny's ships from Ohio to every corner of the country. The shortest ingredient list in the industry has been coming out of the same California shop since 1934. Number 5. McConnell's, making ice cream in Santa Barbara, California since 1934. Their Golden State vanilla contains cream, non-fat milk, cane sugar, egg yolks, vanilla extract, and annatto extract for color. That is the complete list. Their chocolate uses Guittard cocoa. The label has no corn syrup, no artificial flavors, and no gums. The problem is distribution. If you do not live on the West Coast or near a Whole Foods that carries it, finding McConnell's means ordering online, and shipping nearly doubles the per pint cost. At around $12 in stores, it is already expensive. But if it is on a shelf near you, you are looking at one of the shortest, cleanest ingredient lists in the industry. McConnell's problem is getting the product to you. Number 4's problem is that the machine they use was built before the telephone. Number 4. Graters. Founded in Cincinnati in 1870, still using the French pot process, a method so slow and deliberate that it produces ice cream in 2.5-gallon batches. The overrun, meaning how much air gets whipped in, is naturally capped around 20 to 25%. Economy ice cream often hits 100% overrun. That means half of what you are scooping from a cheap brand is literally air. Grater's ice cream is so dense that it has to be hand-packed because automated filling machines cannot move it. In Midwest grocery stores, a pint runs about $6 to $7. Online orders nearly double the price because of shipping. The French pot does not scale. It was never designed to. That is exactly why the product inside the container has tasted the same since your grandparents were children. Number 3. Ben & Jerry's. Started in a renovated gas station in Burlington, Vermont, in 1978 with a $12,000 investment and a $5 correspondence course in ice cream making from Penn State. Cream is the first ingredient in their base. Butter fat content runs between 12 and 15%, solidly above the 10% minimum. Overrun stays below 50%, which is why a pint of Ben & Jerry's feels heavier than a pint from other brands on the same shelf. It is heavier, less air, more product. Unilever bought the company in 2000, removed the all-natural claim, and some flavors now include soy lecithin, coconut oil, and carrageenan in their cookie dough chunks and brownie pieces. The base ice cream is still real, still premium, and still made with cream as the first ingredient. The mix-ins have drifted from the original standard. Stick to the simpler flavors and you are getting honest ice cream. 3 ingredients in the add-ins are a footnote in a pint that delivers where it counts. The brand at number 2 has no footnotes at all. Number 2. Tillamook. A farmer-owned cooperative based in Tillamook, Oregon, founded in 1909. Their vanilla ice cream contains cream, skim milk, sugar, pasteurized egg yolks, vanilla extract, vanilla bean, and natural flavor. You will not find corn syrup, coconut oil, artificial colors, high fructose corn syrup, or cellulose gum anywhere on the label. Cream is the first ingredient. The cooperative structure means the dairy farmers who supply the milk own the company. There is no outside corporate pressure to replace cream with coconut oil or swap sugar for corn syrup, because the people making the decisions are the same people milking the cows. Tillamook is available in grocery stores nationwide and usually priced around $6 to $8 for a 1.5-quart container. That is roughly the same price as brands selling you a carton that is half air and calling it premium. And that leaves the brand at number 1. 5 ingredients and 0 compromise. Number 1. Haagen-Dazs. Founded in the Bronx in 1961 by Ruben and Rose Mattis, 2 Polish immigrants who wanted to make ice cream the way it was supposed to be made. Their vanilla contains 5 ingredients: cream, skim milk, cane sugar, egg yolks, and vanilla extract from Madagascar. That is the entire list. Butterfat content runs around 16%, 6 full points above the 10% minimum the FDA requires. Overrun sits at roughly 20%, meaning nearly everything in the container is actual ice cream, not air. Economy brands approach 100% overrun. Half of what you scoop from those cartons is nothing. At around $6 a pint, Haagen-Dazs is not the cheapest option. But when you weigh what you are actually getting per ounce of real product versus air, it is one of the better values in the freezer section. The name is invented. The Danish-sounding spelling is pure marketing. The ice cream inside the container is as real as anything in your grocery store. Flip the carton over. If it says frozen dairy dessert, put it back. If cream is not in the first two ingredients, put it back. The FDA drew the line. The brands just hope you never look. And if you want to see which butter brands are pulling the same trick, that video is on screen now.